Okay, so question 6 gives two sides and an angle. It wants us to find side D and angle E to the nearest thousandths of a degree. So, I don't know, I've recommended this on a couple of previous questions, but I hadn't actually done it myself. But again, it's not a terrible idea to just sketch a triangle DEF so that you can maybe label some of this stuff. That visual seems to make it a little bit easier. Certainly makes it easier for me to realize I have side, angle, side, which would be a law of cosines strategy. Now, one thing about this is you go to your formulas and they may look like, a squared is b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of angle A. And that, I don't know, this is talking about A, B's, and C's, and this is talking about D's, E's, and F's. So you just need to switch this. If you're going to switch A to be D, then angle A needs to be angle D. And if instead of calling this B, we're going to call it E, then it needs to be E here as well. And instead of calling this C, we call it F. Make sure that you're consistent and change this C to F as well. And now it's the same thing. So in my calculator, to find side D over here, I should be able to do E squared plus F squared minus 2EF cosine of 100 degrees. And I will plug that in to make sure that does give me that last side. And 15.799. So that worked out just fine for that one. And then you still need angle E, and you honestly have some choices here. Notice this question doesn't say anything. You have to use law of sines, you have to use law of cosines. Sometimes you have to start off the problem a certain way, like this one has to start with law of cosines. As much as you may like law of sines, you just don't have the right information to find it. You'd need two angles to find a side in law of sines. So, but at this point you've got some options here, but I will say no matter what option you pick, I think you're going to need to use this side D. So in my calculator, I am storing that in for D because I don't want to keep up with all 8-9 decimals. But most important, this rounded answer is fine to write as your final answer for part D or side D, but don't use that rounded answer to help you find a different answer. So finally for part E, if I want to know E, well, let's say I look at the formula and it looks something like this. And again, I don't have A, B's, and C's. I have D's, E's, and F's. So if I just try to be consistent here, I changed A to be D earlier. I called B, E, and C, F. And just make those switches. And so it looks like to find the measure of angle D, we should do inverse cosine of E squared plus F squared minus D squared. So I'm using what I have stored in my calculator so that it's not rounded, all over 2EF. And since this is one big fraction, I'm going to double check my answer here. But when I type this in my calculator over here to the side, remember you do need parentheses around the numerator and parentheses around the denominator, or it will not do the arithmetic in the order you're expecting it to. And oh, what am I doing? First off, I shouldn't be trying to find I shouldn't be trying to find angle D. Angle D was given to us. I was supposed to be trying to find, what's it, angle E. Oops. Okay, so if I'm trying to find angle E, I need to adjust this a little bit. This would be D squared plus F squared minus E squared, and this would be over 2DF. So switch those two and make that be D. And then that does give me the 54.129. I'll add here at the end, if the D, E, and F is the part that's giving you issues over it being A, B, or C, what you can do just over to the side is give yourself a little key. Like instead of saying E, I'm going to refer to that as A. F can be like my B, and D can be like my C. And then you can still use the formulas, but when you get an angle A side A, angle B side B, angle C side C, you can go over here and use your little key to see that you actually have E, F, or D accordingly, and then you don't have to worry about mixing them up. But of course, the mistake I made was make sure you're paying attention to what you're trying to find. I already knew angle D, and I wasted a couple minutes trying to find angle D. I didn't change it here. I was supposed to be finding angle E.